Hi, I'm Megan, a licensed New York City tour guide, and this is your June 2023 New York City tourism update. June is my absolute favorite time of year to be in New York City, and we're going to get into all of the reasons why, as well as things like what's the weather like in June, what are the crowds like in June, and what's it really like to be in New York City in June. But before we get started, make sure that you click subscribe so you never miss a New York Minute.
Yeah, muffin talk. Muffin talk. Muffin talks, bringing healing to those who need them most.
The first thing that you need to know about visiting New York City in June is Pride Month. Now, many people actually trace the modern day Pride movement to the Stonewall riots in New York City. Now, I have a whole video about LGBTQ plus history in New York City. Feel free to check that out if you want to do a deep dive into that topic. But for you visiting in June, what you just need to know is that the whole city is going to be celebrating all month. You're going to see restaurants, you're going to see shows, you're going to see parties in the street. And then of course, there is always the Pride March that happens that's supposed to coincide either directly with the Stonewall riots or very close to the date that the Stonewall riots took place. And if you're a member of the LGBTQ plus community or an ally, you can absolutely participate in the Pride March, or you can watch along the streets. All of Greenwich Village is just this amazing Pride celebration. So it's just a really, really wonderful place to celebrate the Pride movement. Basically, you're going to want to bring your most sparkly, loud, and proud Pride clothing, accessories, and get ready to celebrate with the rest of New York City in June. Let's talk crowds. Now, the crowds this June have been bonkers. I'm actually getting this video out a few days late because I've been so packed with tours that I've not been able to sit down and make this video. Now, because I am a tour guide, my boots are on the ground. I am out there in the field with tourists every single day, so I am actually experiencing these crowds. I've been out at Statue of Liberty. The crowds, the lines have been bonkers. The boats have been maxing out. That means that the boats fill up before everybody in line gets on the boat, so you have to wait 25 minutes for the next boat, and it's just crazy. So what does this mean for you as a tourist? What this means for you as a tourist is you're really going to want to book ahead. If you're taking a tour, book ahead. Almost every tour guide that I know is completely booked for June. So you want to book those tours ahead of time. You want to book observation decks ahead of time. If you're going to any of the free events, a free concert, a free performance in one of New York City's parks, you're going to want to get there really, really early. I'm not talking like 15 minutes early or 30 minutes early. To like get a spot, you're going to want to get there several hours early. This is something that, at least to me, feels relatively new, but every time I've gone to any sort of free event in New York City over the past few months, if I get there even 2 hours early, it's already packed and wild. So just plan ahead, bring a picnic, bring board games, get ready to chill, and enjoy the warm weather of June. Also, the crowds, they're not all scary and bad. It actually gives a really great energy to the city. So much hustle, bustle, so many people having a great time. And like if you're waiting for a free concert, you're gonna make friends, and that's an awesome experience. So I love June. Let's talk theater. So June, there's a major event called the Tony Awards. Now, the Tony Awards are basically the Oscars of Broadway. And traditionally, after the Tony Awards, the shows that do really well at the Tonys, they experience a huge bump in ticket sales. So what does this mean for you? This really means that you want to buy those Broadway show tickets ahead of time, because if one of these shows wins the Tony Award for best new musical, best new play, it's going to become impossible to get tickets to those shows. What you don't want to have happen is just, have your heart set on seeing a show such as Sweeney Todd. It wins the Tony for Best Revival of a Musical. Tickets become even more popular than they already are. And suddenly the only way that you can get tickets is through verified ticket resellers who up the price. So just buy those tickets before the Tony Awards. You're going to be so much happier and it's going to save so much stress. One of the best things about visiting New York City in June is that there is so much free stuff to do. There are free concerts in Central Park, free concerts in Bryant Park. There are free concerts in all 5 boroughs. You can go see Shakespeare in the Park at the Delacorte Theater. They will be doing Hamlet this year. There's free kayaking that you could do in Manhattan. Just tons and tons of free stuff. I actually have teamed up with Welcome to Times Square. Every week we curate a list of activities that we think our followers would love to participate in. A lot of these are free. So if you want to keep up to date on the best free activities in New York City, make sure that you click follow on Welcome to Times Square. And as I mentioned before, these free events are going to be wildly popular. They're going to be wildly popular for local New Yorkers, and they're going to be wildly popular for tourists. So just make sure that you arrive early. If any of these events have a sign up, make sure that you sign up early. Also, on the solstice, there's going to be free yoga in Times Square. Sign-ups for that already happening, so sign up for free yoga now. New York City weather in June is hot. It's hot. It tends to be very warm. I grew up in Florida. I love hot weather. I am in my element in the hot weather. But if you are not in your element in hot weather, you just want to come prepared. It's a very special heat in New York City. You definitely want to bring sunscreen, sunglasses, a hat. I really like wearing these light kind of cottony shirts. I find that it keeps the sun off my shoulders, and as a result, I tend to feel cooler throughout the day as I walk around New York City. Also, I know that they have portable fans that you can use. A lot of my guests will bring these portable fans to help keep them cool as they're walking around the Big Apple. We also have lots of ways to cool off in New York City. You can always head out to Coney Island. Speaking of fun free events, there's the Mermaid Parade that's held every year out in Coney Island. That is wild, that is wacky. Everyone dresses up as their favorite sea creatures. And then after watching the parade or participating in the parade, you can always go swimming at the beach. We have beaches in New York City. So lots of ways to keep cool. Just be prepared when you are packing. Hot weather. Of course, I need to address safety. Something just to keep in mind is that most of the crime in New York City just happens in a very small number of police precincts in New York City, and they're places where you as a tourist are probably not going to go. However, when you're walking around, it is a big city, so you do want to be aware of your surroundings, you want to be smart. I talked to an NYPD police officer. He said that the 2 biggest pieces of advice that he could give anyone coming to visit New York City was just stay aware of your surroundings. Make sure that you're not walking around with your nose in your phone. Just always kind of be aware of your surroundings, and then also always know the exact intersection that you're at. So in the unlikely event that you have to call 911, you're able to say, I'm at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. And New York City's on a grid for the most part, so that makes it pretty easy. So just don't walk around with your nose in your phone, and always know where you are on Manhattan's grid system. I do get asked a lot of questions about the New York City subway and subway safety. And I will just say, from my own personal experience, I take the subway all the time. I take it late at night, I take it early in the morning, I take it in the middle of the day. I just find it to be the fastest and most affordable way to get wherever I am going, and I am still alive to tell the tale. However, I just want to say that it's going to be a very personal choice for you and your family. I have some friends who won't ride the subway after 8 p.m. or won't ride it after 10 p.m. I actually have some male friends who insist that I don't take the train at night and have actually paid for a cab back home, which is really nice for me. but I do usually, if I'm just by myself, opt for the subway. Something to keep in mind is that on the subway, I do often see homeless people. It's very sad, actually. I wish that there was something that we as a society could do to like really help the situation and give the homeless population the support that they need. For the most part, on the train, if someone is homeless on the train, I just see them sleeping and not actually bothering or harassing anyone. But if you're visiting from a place where you don't encounter the homeless population a lot, it might be very like jarring or shocking to you to see. So just want to be totally honest about that. I do find that most of my tour guests are very happy taking the subway. I actually heard someone say, the later you go, the better the show on the subway. So again, just determine for yourself what you personally feel safe with on the subway. Overall, I think that June is an amazing time to be in New York City. It's my personal favorite month. I hope that this video gave you an idea of what it's like to visit in June. If you're someone who has visited in June and you have advice, write that advice in the comments so that everybody can benefit. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask those questions in the comments and I'll do my best to answer, either in the comments or with another video. Now, if you like videos like these, make sure that you click subscribe. It helps me bring you more videos. And also, speaking of videos, I think it's close to 1,000 videos right now. Almost all of them are about New York City. Some of them are just like short videos about history. Some of them are about like the 16 best things to do your very first trip to New York City. So make sure that you check those out. And for more NYC, follow me.